Welcome to the show. Get ready to meet your host for the night, Arizona's very own hip historian himself, Marshall Shore.
Well, hello and good evening. My name is Marshall Shore, Arizona's hip historian, and I want to welcome you to our Arizona History Happy Hour. This is the 23rd week that we've been doing this, and we're having a lot of fun as we get a chance to kind of roam around Arizona and talk about a wide variety of things. Now, you can view us. Some of you are viewing us on Facebook, some are on YouTube, and some are even on Twitch on this lovely Thursday, September 24th of 2020. So I want to welcome you all as we get ready to embark on an amazing adventure. And you'll notice that there's someone else's, oh, wait a minute, that mirror image. So basically, today is his birthday. That would be Jim Henson. So we are here celebrating him, talking about puppets and other humanoid things, which we'll get into in just a little bit. I do want to welcome you all and say thank you. Now, this is made possible because so many of you have been so generous and giving, even if it's just a little bit. You can throw me a little bit, whatever you can, up on Venmo. I'm also happy to say that we do have a sponsor of AARP, and they have a message in that now more than ever, there are critical issues on the line in this election for the 50 plus. AARP is adapted to the reality of the 2020 election year. We're working hard to make sure voters can vote safely and know their voting options. We're speaking up to the candidates to remind them that 50 plus voters are watching. Until Election Day, AARP can fight to make sure voters 50 plus can make their voices heard. If you'd like to find out more information about what they are doing, as well as other virtual programming they are doing, you can take a look at their website, which is AARP.org/AZ. So they have all kinds of great information there. So take a look. So what can you expect from this show? Well, oh my gosh. So we have our special guest coming up in a moment, and I'll introduce him. We also have a segment called Little Arizona, where we'll talk about a little town of about 300 plus people that has a really old mission and a bar that's been there since the 30s. We'll also be doing some trivia. We'll be talking about some music history, as well as doing a little bit of show and tell. And I'm kind of excited about this week because, you know, it's always kind of fun when you discover something new. And that's exactly what I did. So for first timers here, I always kind of like to go through and talk about how did I get to Arizona 20 years ago? And how did I become the hip historian? So about a little over 20 years ago, I was working in a library in Brooklyn, and there it is, a lovely Carnegie, and realized it was time to make a huge change for weather and many other things. And so we came to Arizona, my partner and I actually started working in South Phoenix at Central City South at a small library called Harmon, which was the first branch for Phoenix Public Library, built in the 1950s, and was there for quite a while. But to get here, we had to load everything into a U-Haul. Now, you know, they have their world headquarters right here in the Valley of the Sun. We promptly moved into a lovely 1956 ranch. When we bought it, it was beige on beige on beige on beige on, and I think even there were more beiges there. I'm happy to say now it is a much more simplified two-tone of just seafoam and cantaloupe. Now, pretty much the reason we bought the house was because that was our goal, was to get a mid-50s ranch that nobody had touched. And so that's what my kitchen still looks like today. All that buttercream yellow tile, the push button set in the wall, and including that oven that matches the tile. But if you look at that oven, you may notice something that's not on your oven. Well, actually, you have it, but I don't. If you have a modern oven, you have a window in your door. And I do not. So I can't see in when I'm baking things. I've got to open the door and take a peek and see what's going on in there. Now, as soon as I got here, all I kept hearing about how there was no history. But I knew that wasn't true because every time I went for an adventure, I came face to face with so many amazing stories. And that's really one of the things that really kind of prompted me to embark on the journey that I've gone on. Now, there's also that post-war boom that I think in a lot of ways made the Arizona that we all know and love. All those GIs that either were stationed here, trained here, or passed on their way to somewhere else. And after the war, they were moving to Arizona in huge numbers for a whole new way of life. And in some cases, looking for a house just like mine. Now, you might notice if you were outside earlier, it was a little warm. And really, the other person that changed Arizona so dramatically was this man, Willis Carrier, the inventor of air conditioning. Without him, we would not be enjoying summer nearly as much. Now, how did I get the name Hip Historian? Well, back in 2012, we had a big celebration, 100 years of statehood on that February 14th. And someone gave me 15 minutes to talk about anything I wanted to. And I chose one of my most favorite events that a lot of people don't really know that much about. It was called Mask of the Yellow Moon. It ran from 1926 to 1955. At its height, it had about 5,000 high school and college students performing in it. And it was touted right up there as with Mardi Gras as something that everybody should go and see. And I was lucky enough to find 3 dresses from the 30s in a box. And so I was able to convince 3 lovely friends to put on these amazing dresses. Let's get a better look at those. And so I did a whole presentation on the Mask of the Yellow Moon and kind of what it meant to the valley at that time. It was a pretty big deal. Now, since then, I've really dug my heels into Arizona. At first, I wasn't quite sure. But, the more I kept learning the stories, the amazing people that have been here before me, I started doing a variety of tours, lectures. I've done Christmas lights tours. We've done Winnie Ruth Judd tours. We've done architecture. We did a Sunny Slope tour, kind of a keep it weird Sunny Slope type thing. With lectures, I've done those in a variety of libraries, churches, on a myriad of topics across the state. And my next tour is actually going to be a walking ghost tour because nobody wants to get on a bus with a bunch of strangers right now. And so October, Friday 9th and Saturday the 10th, we are doing 10-person tours, a walking tour around downtown. Everyone will be masked, including myself. I got one of those nifty little microphones I can put in and talk so that people can hear me. And we can all be nice and safe while we're doing that. Now, also, if you'd like to reach out to me as we go along, now you'll notice that most of you should have a chat on the right-hand side. But after the show, if you want to reach out to me, you can do that on Facebook under Marshall Shore Hip Historian. You can also follow me on Instagram. Or there's always good old-fashioned email, and that is hello@hiphistorian.com. Now, I do have a new website, which I keep adding a little bit to kind of every week. So if you want to find out about the tours, you can go to hiphistorian.com. And I had to wait for years for that to become open. Somebody was sitting on it for quite a while. And then one day I was able to snag it. Now, I will ask you, if you're watching this on Facebook, you should see a share button down in the lower right-hand corner. If you can click on that so you can share the Arizona love with so many other folks, and we can all have a grand time as we embark on our little bit of puppet history. Now, because it is a happy hour, of course, there has to be a cocktail. And so JP, the bartender over at the Valley Ho, has graciously offered to be my cocktail advisor. And so every week he comes with some amazing concoctions. So this week we are doing now, let's see, let's just do this. So he created this week a cocktail Avenue Q. Now, once I've actually got my cocktail in hand, I'll tell you a little bit about it. Now, you'll also notice my bartender for this evening is a little mini-me. Why, it is a puppet that kind of looks similar, just like somebody you all see on the other side of the screen, including eyewear, which is actually a pair of my eyewear. And we'll talk a little bit of how that came to be, because that's actually one of our trivia questions. So this is Avenue Q, is the name of this cocktail. So let's do that. Nice. All right. Oh, and again, just like last week, I'm not used to this new glass. Oh my gosh, that is oh so tasty. All right, so So the nice thing about PJ is what you can do is you can actually, he makes these to go, just like I did, in a little glass thing, in a little glass jar, or sometimes there's a whole kit because there's things to do. I mean, one week we made egg foam for our cocktail, so you never know quite what he's going to whip up. Now, this is Avenue Q, and it's an ounce of bourbon, an ounce of sweet vermouth, a little Campari, a little aperitivo, and then a little bit of Bitterman's Commonwealth. So the cocktail is really a take on a Boulardier, which literally translates to streetwalker, or more like a man about town. So a lot of times when you're in other cities in Europe, you might find a puppeteer just kind of wandering the streets performing. I know I've seen that in New York. So you'll find puppet people just kind of walking around performing. Now, traditionally, that's made with a lot more Campari, but he kind of split it up between the aperitivo. But the Commonwealth is where the Q comes from, and that is for the quinine. And so that's what brings the balance. And so that's also why it's Avenue Q. Now it's called tonic. That's the main thing that the quinine is what they put in tonic to give it that restorative, that bitterness. And so it's often added to gin or vodka. So cheers. Now, one of the things I love about PJ is the fact that even as we were talking about this, he was still tweaking the recipe. So this has just a touch of sesame oil. So yeah, so people can stop by and pick one up to go. So you can stop by the Valley Ho and they have them pre-made. So you can pick it up and take it home, just like I did, in a great little jar, or sometimes in a little box, depending on what he's doing. So you never quite know what that cocktail is going to be. So it's always fun. And what I love is he's creating, these are all from scratch. It's not that he's like, hey, I'm just going to do something that someone else has done. These are all oh so unique cocktails. Now it's time for show and tell. And oh my gosh, have we got a doozy for you today. So let's see, let's make me bigger. There we go. So some of you might remember, and is this going to be backwards? Oh, it's right. So Hobo Joe's. So Hobo Joe's was a local chain that started off in Scottsdale in the mid-60s, and they were famous for this hobo. Now, originally, the hobo was actually sculpted by James Casey, who was a Disney artist. And they all closed down in the 80s. They were all gone. But if you go to Buckeye, oh, and actually, I realized I didn't click on that. So there we have the menu from Hobo Joe's, as well as if you go out to Buckeye right now. So in the mid 80s, there was a statue made and put on display of Hobo Joe. He's about 20 feet tall, and he had been looking a little ramshackle. And the last time I was out there looking for him, he was gone. Well, come to find out, he had been purchased by the Buckeye Main Street Coalition. And last year, they completely redid him. So now he's standing in downtown Buckeye at 5th and Monroe. So you can go see Hobo Joe, which I think is kind of pretty cool. Now, through the miracle of modern technology, some might call it a cell phone. Some might call it a world, a galaxy in your pocket. I want to bring on a really special guest, Mr. Tommy Cannon.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh. So, I love that we keep running into each other at some puppet slams, kind of all about town. Actually, when my puppet was made, you and Dane put on a little puppet show as well.
We did. Yep.
Yeah. So you're kind of one of the puppet men about town.
Yeah. Give me one of those avenue cues when you see me shuffle around downtown Phoenix.
Exactly. Cheers.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's pretty darn good.
It burns going down, but it's worth it.
Indeed. So tell us a little about yourself, Tommy.
Well, I've been doing puppetry since 2002, when someone who was in our improv troupe was the office manager at the Puppet Theater, the Great Arizona Puppet Theater, that is. And we saw a night of puppetry for grown-up audiences. And it was Preston Furter from the East Coast. I think he's from New York or New Jersey. And he did these short stories, and it was just hysterical. And it was something that I always look to in animation, like you have like art, and then you have like visual art and then performance mixed together in puppetry. So that's when I started making up short stories for their puppet slams. That's when they started the puppet slams, is that week. But I guess that's for early birds for the quiz.
Right. Yeah. I like how you're subtle, because you're known for being subtle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm Captain Subtle.
Dun, dun, dun.
Subtleizer.
So yeah. I mean, so whatever we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Right.
All right. So,
yes, a divergence. It is Jim Henson would have been 84 today if he was still alive. And my brother is 40 years old today. He has the same birthday.
Wow.
Many happy returns.
I hope you woke him up bright and early with maybe a little FaceTime with a puppet.
With a little spanking, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
With a puppet.
This year.
It's always funny when there's a puppet.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we're going to do a little bit of trivia. Now, what makes our trivia unique is that we'll go through the trivia questions. Now, they're all multiple choice, and you are welcome to keep track of it here in the chat. You can keep track of it on a pad and paper. If you are so inclined, you could take birthday cake icing and write it on your leg. And then the only way to get it off would have to be you'd have to eat it. Oh, darn.
Yeah, that's a good visual.
So then once we're done with all of our questions, we will take a little bit of an Arizona music history break. And then we will launch into the answers. And we're going to try something really unique tonight. We'll see if it actually, I think I can pull it off, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And so, who's ready for some trivia? Well, thank you. I'm glad somebody out there does.
Here it comes.
All right. So our first question. The Phoenix Guild of Puppetry became the official Charter Puppeteers of America Guild in, and I just realized I told you I would do something and I did not do it, but we can correct that as we go through the answers.
Yeah, we can.
All right. So did they become the official charter back in A, 61, B, 62, C, 59, or D, 83? Which year did they become an official charter of the Puppeteers of America Guild?
All right.
Indeed. All right. And oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this question.
Yeah, me too.
Which of the ventriloquists made the biggest contribution to Arizona culture? Was it A, Paul Winchell? I like his donuts. And Barry Fader? Or B, Dan Horn and Von de K. Van Dyke? Or was it C, Edgar Bergen and Jeff Dunham? Or C, Darcy Lynn and Senor Wences? All right. So which one of those had the two folks that had the biggest contribution to Arizona culture and were also ventriloquists? Oh my gosh. Just wait till you see the answer. I hope the buildup is not like, that's all he did. Okay. So, all right. So what theater is the largest puppet facility in the entire Southwest? A, the Mary Hitchcock Theater. B, the Herberger Theater Center. C, the Great Arizona Puppet Theater. Or D, the Torch Theater. Which one of those theaters is the largest puppet facility in the Southwest? And, I've been talking a lot. So cheers.
Cheers. Oh, that'll put hair on your chest.
Well, it's or on the hair on top of your head, but
oh yeah, none of that here. None of that here. It all moved to my back. It's okay. Just
pleasant.
Yeah.
All right. So question 4: Puppet Pie started as an Etsy shop, a bakery, a Redbubble shop, or a pizza joint. What did Puppet Pie start as? Some of you might be wondering what even Puppet Pie is. We'll go into that. Yeah. So that's why it's multiple choice. So even if you don't know the answer or the question, just take a string and pull on the answer. All right. And so here we are at the halfway point. So a gathering of short form puppet shows for grown-up audiences is called A, a puppet heap. B, a puppet slam. C, Puppet Utopia. Oh my gosh, I want to go to Puppet Utopia. Or D, Puppet Stew. Which one of those is a gathering for adults using puppets? All right, so we're coming down the hill. All right, the word marionette means A, Little Mary. B, a rod puppet. C, a string puppet. D, a shadow puppet. What does the word marionette mean? All right.
Oh boy. Top number 7.
I know. We're at number 7 already. The Great Arizona Puppet Theater is housed in a former A, Mormon church. B, a boxing gym. C, a former tiki bar. Or D, a tomatillo cannery. Which one of those was the building that the Great Arizona Puppet Theater is currently in? All right. Question 8. Oh my gosh, look at I'm the subject of one of the questions. I guess I finally reached some level of celebrityism.
You're in it.
All right. So my puppet, actually tonight it's my bartender. That likeness
over there.
Exactly. All right. So that likeness came from Rick Lyons Puppet Studio, A, B, Puppet Pie, C, Patchwork Puppets, or D, Puppet Planet? Which one of those folks created that amazing likeness of me? And I know, we can bring him on just so that way he can,
Oh,
yeah. So
adorable. It's adorable.
And I love that I have a matching suit coat as well, but we'll go through more of that when we get to the answers. All right. He's going to take a step back. The movie that shot a scene in the current puppet theater was A, Over the Top, B, Breaking, C, Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo. I was just listening to a podcast and they were talking about Breaking and Electric Boogaloo and how important those were. Yeah. As well as D, Ninja 3, The Domination. So one of those movies shot a scene in the current puppet theater for Greater Arizona. All right. So, so you think we only have one left, but we have a bonus question. So,
ooh.
All right. So question 10, the Arizona artist who made his mark building props for roadside attractions was A, Jim Henson, B, Frank Oz, C, Jerry Nelson, or D, Homer Tate? Which one of those folks became famous for building roadside and circus attractions? Who was it? And then our final bonus question. What church in South Phoenix got a preview of Sesame Street before it even went on the air? Was it A, Tanner Chapel, B, Southminster Church, C, Pilgrim's Rest, or D, South Mountain Baptist Church? Which one of those churches got a preview of Sesame Street before it went on the air?
All right.
So while people are gathering their wits about them, or maybe having another drink of their cocktail like I'm going to do, cheers.
Oh, yeah.
You got to watch yourself. I mean, you've been drinking a little too much lately.
Yeah. I'm more loose for answering these questions now.
So we're going to take a little bit of a music history break. So that way it gives you a chance to catch up and maybe play with some of your answers. If you think, well, wait a minute, maybe I should rethink that answer. So here is a brief break. And so we're going to talk about, since we're doing puppets, the Meat Puppets, which actually have nothing to do with puppets other than their name. But they're a rock band that formed here in 1980. It was two brothers who were attending Brophy when they met the young man who would become their drummer. Now, they started off doing punk music, but they started melding punk and psychedelic rock. And they then were asked to guest spot on Nirvana's MTV Unplugged back in 93, back when MTV actually showed videos and not just reality shows. And this album actually was their most successful back in 1994. Now, they broke up in 96 and 2002, but they've also reunited again in 2006. And the Meat Puppets have been said to have influenced bands including Nirvana, Soundgarden, Dinosaur Jr., Pavement, and Jawbreaker. So, and you can still see some of those folks roaming around town in all kinds of music scenes. All right, so we have answers coming up in just a moment. All right, so let me quick do a little so we can get set up for my little fun bit that we're going to try and do. All right.
There are men about town.
Indeed. All right. So the Phoenix Guild of Puppetry became an official charter of the Puppeteers of America Guild in, and here's where I messed up because I was supposed to have 2 years in here. I only put 1 year.
That's all right. Trick question. It's both A and B, 1961 and 1962.
What? How is that possible?
Well, Well, maybe you do. Maybe you finish the paperwork in the winter of '61, and then it arrives in '62. I don't know, but their Weebly site says 1961, but the Puppeteers of America and their craft book says 1962.
Ah. So,
Well, we'll accept 1962.
All right. So on to question 2. And so this is our fancy question. So which of these ventriloquists made the biggest contribution to Arizona culture? So let's see if...
he's got Cassandra. Time for Dan Horn and Cassandra.
Well, Cassandra, how are you today?
Lousy, and don't ask.
Don't ask what?
Don't ask how come I'm lousy.
How come?
Because the program director nixed all of my ideas for a show of my own.
Well, what were your ideas?
A show called Cooking with Cassandra.
Well, no wonder he nixed that. It's too similar to Cooking with Rita.
Yeah, well, only my cooking was going to be on the dance floor. I'm really hot, you know.
Okay. Well, what was your next idea?
Cooking with Play-Doh.
Cooking with Play-Doh?
Each day a recipe using Play-Doh as the main ingredient.
Well, what did the program director say about that?
Too much like Cooking with Rita.
Nice.
All right. And so it was a two...
Let's have a little compromise. What do you mean? Well, we'll sing a duet. You think you can do that? Look, I mean, you sing a line, and then I'll sing a line. I didn't mean that we both sang together. Yeah, I didn't think you'll love that good. All right, look, remember, wherever we go and whatever we do, we're gonna have to go through it together. Wherever we go, whatever we do, we're gonna go through it together, together. And we may not go far, wherever we are, it's together, together.
Yay, it worked.
Yeah.
I impressed myself with that one.
Yeah, good job, man. That was slick. So yeah, Dan Horn, he began in 1980 with the Wallace and Ladmo crew, and he rode that ship right to the end of the series. In 1989.
And so for those of you that don't know Wallace and Ladmo, so it was the longest running kids program on the planet with the original cast. It started back in 1954 and ran till 1989.
Yep.
And it's one of those things that, not growing up with it, when people talk about it, you can see them get all misty-eyed talking about it, regardless of what age they were, because it was rather irreverent. As well as they got the option, if you won, you could get a Ladmo bag that was full of all kinds of treats.
I got a Ladmo bag. Yep.
Oh, you're gonna get hate mail.
Yeah, they should hate me. Yeah, I am a Ladmo bag recipient.
Wow.
I got it for a pet photo. Sometimes they would show pet photos.
Ah.
A picture of me with my turtle. It made it on the show.
Very cool. I didn't realize you had a Ladmo bag.
Yeah, I got a Ladmo bag.
Very cool.
Sugar up. Ate it all up.
And so then Vonda K. Van Dyke was Miss America back in 1965. And so what was unique about her was not only was she the only Miss America to also win Miss Congeniality, but she was able to surprise everyone with her talent of ventriloquism. Now, she really honed that skill working at a Phoenix institution, an amusement park called Legend City.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of where she got her time with her puppet, Curly. And so the Tempe History Museum, gosh, was it last year or the year before? I think it was last year. They did an exhibit and they actually were able to have Curly there.
Oh,
which
nice.
was really kind of cool.
Very cool. Good job, Miss Arizona.
Exactly. All right. So, what theater is the largest puppet facility in the entire Southwest?
Great Arizona Puppet Theater.
Oh my gosh. And it's actually worldwide known. I actually ran into a puppeteer up in Toronto. And the moment he found I was from Arizona, he was like, "Do you go to the Great Arizona Puppet Theater?" I was like, "Well, of course I do."
Of
So
course.
I was really happy that it was not just known locally, but it's known
Yeah.
across the
I watched a puppet show in San Diego, and I had my little puppet theater patch on my shirt, and the guy in the show recognized it, and he started talking about it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at that. All right. Puppet Pie started as
An Etsy shop. So
That's
yeah,
right.
she began that I think in 2006, and she's taken it all the way to now. She has a studio in the Bragg's Pie Factory, and she just purchased an ice cream truck.
Indeed, that's going to be turned into a mobile stage, which I think is brilliant. It's going to be so much fun. So we'll all be, I'm sure, on the lookout to see what she's doing and where she's going with her puppet pie food truck. And she also, some of you might know, if you've ever watched Sesame Street, especially lately, she is actually one of the wranglers of Julia, who is one of the characters.
That's true.
On Sesame Street. All right. And a gathering of short form puppet shows for grown-up audiences is called
a puppet slam. And that's how I got started in the puppet stuff. Was I saw Preston Furter from East Coast, and he did that grown-up puppet show, and then the puppet theater decided that they were going to do puppet slams. And for that show, I created I made up my own story about like when shop teachers lose their finger, the finger falls in the sawdust and it goes down into a new world that's populated by disembodied shop teacher fingers. I called it Finger War, and it was about like fingers fighting each other to have the rights to give the thimbles out to the nose miners. So to cross the Phalanges River to find the thimbles to give to the nose miners. It was a epic work of making finger puppets, but not really finger puppets, puppets that look like fingers. Yeah, that's how I got my start.
So finger puppets.
Yeah. Finger hand puppets, because they walked like this, like Jim Henson stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay. And then someone's asking, so it is Stacy Gordon is the puppeteer who is on Sesame Street.
That's right.
With Puppet Pie.
With Puppet Pie. Yep.
Indeed.
She helped me make those hand finger puppets from my first thing.
Well, because I know she traveled. I mean, well, before all this happened, she was actually traveling the country doing all these different festivals, selling puppets, selling her handmade puppets.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's actually where I first met you all, was actually at a puppet slam.
Yeah.
Down at the Arizona Puppet Theater.
Yeah. True.
And they've also had like Rasputin puppets. They bring in puppeteers from all over the place to perform. And so you see a wide variety of performers, which is a lot of fun.
Great.
And the word marionette means
Little Mary. Yes. In France, in the way back when times, they used to do puppet shows so much for churches that they called puppets marionettes, which means Little Mary for Saint Mary, because they did all those church shows. And I guess like some credit to those of you who answered string puppet, because in English speaking countries, marionette means that. But if you go and take it to the French, it means Little Mary. And Little Mary is not just for string puppets over there. In France, they call every puppet a marionette.
Indeed. So actually, that was my first exposure to puppets was actually on a local independent station back in Indiana. The local church did Timothy Church Mouch, which was a bunch of hand puppets having a half-hour show. And okay. I was riveted by that every week.
Cool.
So, now, Tommy, someone's asking if you are also known as Jack the Necrophiliac?
No.
Okay. I didn't think so, but I was like, I'm gonna ask just because I don't know anything about Jack the Necrophiliac.
Me neither. And that's something new to look into.
Your doppelganger. Oh no.
Yeah.
All right. And the Great Arizona Puppet Theater is housed in a
Former Mormon church. It's the oldest Mormon church still standing in the valley. And it used to have the pipe organ, but that pipe organ is now at a church that's on Ashland and I think 3rd Street. So yeah.
Well, and so originally this building was supposed to be demolished for the 10. It had,
that's right.
And so it was supposed to be gone, and it became a variety of things. It was an art center for a while. It also became home to Janus Theater Troupe for a short period of time as well. So it served the arts since that time. And so, and I love, and and it's been such a gorgeous remodel back in the mid-90s.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I love when you go in there. It's like they've got the whole little display of puppets from all over the place, some great old ones. So
yeah, the Puppet Museum's crazy good. Yeah.
Oh, so Anita says that Jack the Necrophiliac was from a past Puppet Slam.
Oh, okay. Oh, I know what they're talking about now. No, I was not in that. Sorry. I'm not Jack. I forgot all about that. How could I forget something like that? I've had a weird life when I go, oh, Jack the Necrophiliac, whatever.
Right. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I wasn't that Jack. I was a different Jack. I was. Yeah. The Arizona Puppet Theater is located on Latham and
3rd Avenue.
So
a few blocks north of Roosevelt.
Right. And it's also just directly across the street from the Japanese Friendship Garden.
Correct. Yes, it is. It's beautiful over there too. Gotta check it out. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much fun stuff right there. So. All right. Oh, wait a minute. And let's bring on.
Oh yeah.
Let's see if we can look. And there he is.
Hey, Barkeep, how's it going, man?
Oh, I think he's had too much.
Oh yeah.
Looking rather docile at the moment.
Oh man, Marshall, you're able to talk without the bartender moving his lips. Your bartender's a great ventriloquist, man.
Indeed, he's very talented. All right, so my likeness came from Puppet Pie. So I had been actually talking to Stacy for a while. And so for my birthday, I was like, whose bucket list does not have on it to become a Muppet? And so I was like, Stacy, this is my gift to myself, is I'm going to have you make myself a puppet. And It was so funny when I went to go pick it up, she called frantically because we'd gone through and picked out a pair of child's eyewear.
Uh-huh.
And she said, oh my God, the eyewear don't fit. She's like, do you happen to have a spare pair? Oh. I'm like, well, oddly enough, I have a few spare pair. So the puppet can wear my glasses as it's doing right now.
Nice.
So yeah.
Gives it that authentic touch.
Indeed. And if I can put bigger ones on it, I can put smaller ones, whatever my heart desires. And then the other beautiful thing about the puppet is actually then another woman that actually has helped make costumes. Brianna actually made the jacket that actually looks like my Arizona jacket.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, so now let's go ahead and take my docile, non-verbal bartender.
That's an excellent gift to yourself.
Indeed, and it's odd to have a bartender that doesn't talk. But.
Yeah.
All right, and the movie that shot a scene in the current Puppet Theater was
Ninja 3: The Domination. First of all, I want to make a point that my name does have something to do with this. Like, I'm Tommy Cannon. All 4 of the selections were from Cannon Films. So Over the Top, Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo, Ninja 3: The Domination. It's all Cannon Films, which they were quality. But yeah, if you watch Ninja 3: The Domination, you'll also see Papago Park in the background to a lot of the scenes. You'll see when they fight, they do some ninja fighting inside what looks like a monastery. That's the scene in the Puppet Theater, the Great Arizona Puppet Theater. You'll even see their vintage doors.
Oh yeah, those big sliding doors.
Yeah, you'll see those big vintage doors in the shot. So yeah, that is proof positive that Ninja 3: The Domination happened in the Great Arizona Puppet Theater.
And so to that, I had to say cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, I watched it and it just blew my mind.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you watched it multiple times. I was like, wow.
No, I just watched it once, but I did watch it as like YouTube with 10-minute segments.
Oh, right. So you can take bathroom breaks every 10-minute intervals.
Because there was so much fun pee in your pants action.
All right. So the Arizona artist who made his mark building props for roadside attractions was
Homer Tate.
Oh my gosh. So tell us about Homer Tate.
Well, first of all, I've got to thank Michael Dines of Mike's Rack. He is my source of all information, Homer Tate. Homer Tate was the guy who made that thing. You know the thing.
Oh,
on a big road trip and you see that weird question mark and they say, what is the thing?
Right.
Just outside of Benson, Arizona, the thing was made by Homer Tate, but he was very prolific. He used all kinds of weird materials. He would find like bones and animal hides and fur and stuff, and he would sculpt and stitch and sew and craft these strange roadside attraction things like, oh, here's a dead demon. It was a real demon, but it's dead and on display at our shop. So he would do like a lot of those things, like the Fiji mermaids. He would make those. He made all kinds of weird monsters and attractions for like that kind of, not necessarily for Route 66, though some of them I'm sure made it up there, but it's like that mentality of like people coming in, lots of hotels, lots of stores, lots of people with their businesses there and trying to attract people, get their curiosity going. And he made like props for that.
So yeah, because I know at one point there was even a catalog where you could go through and select which double-headed Siamese twin did you want and things like that.
Yeah. He even those catalogs are collector's items now.
And his pictures are extremely collectible.
He was a man of faith too, and he was actually, I think, the sheriff of Graham County at one point. However, he ran into some trouble with the law at some point, and he got put in jail for a few days. And during those few days, his family cleaned out his entire studio, like took out everything, destroyed everything, threw out everything. And that's when he stopped. When he realized his family would not bail him out of jail until they cleared out his stuff, that they were just horrified by all the
how sad to come home and find all your supplies gone. All the fur you've been out gathering in the wilderness, all the bones and twigs.
He creeped out his own family so bad that they did that to him.
They waited till he was incarcerated.
Yeah. Oh, this is our moment. This is it.
Poor Homer.
Poor Homer. And thank you, Michael Dines, for introducing me to this weird artist. So weird.
And if you've not been to the thing down near Wilcox, even though it's done a big remodel and it used to be only $1 to get in, and now it's $5 to get in, and it's now called Dinosaurs vs. Aliens, it's still worth it because the thing is over in the corner. You actually have to go kind of hunt for it, which is, I agree, Haley. It's really sad that you have to go hunt for it. I mean, I took some friends and that was our goal. And they're like, oh, where is it? And I'm like, oh, it's over hidden in the corner over here.
Oh, man.
But I still made sure we went to go see it.
Very good.
All right. And then our bonus question. What church in Southeast got a preview of Sesame Street before it went on the air? and it was B. Southminster Church.
Yeah.
So in the 60s, they were looking for a new minister, and they brought in one by the name of Brooks from DC. And so when he got to South Phoenix, the church is still there on Broadway. He noticed that his parishioners were not getting the same level of education as other places. And so he had friends in DC who were working on a program called Head Start. And so he brought in those friends who basically helped make us kind of one of the pioneer sites for Head Start. But they were also connected with Children's Television Workshop, which became Sesame Street. And so we had kids at Southminster who were used as kind of a test field or a test market for some of those bits. I've sadly not seen any photos of this. I don't know if any photos exist, but I did get this from his son. So I have a feeling he knew what was going on in his dad's church. He was probably one of those kids. Just nobody had cell phones then to take lots of pictures or video.
Right.
Oh, let's go back there. And so let's do. So
Hey.
tell us about some of the things that the Puppet Theater is doing. I mean, I know they're doing some drive-up shows. So tell us about those.
So just like a drive-in movie, it's a drive-in puppet show. Now, they are doing a premiere of their brand new show, Dinosaur Picnic, this Saturday. Sorry, that one's sold out, though. They're going to do it again, though, on October 3rd, Saturday morning. So if you want to see Dinosaur Picnic, and why wouldn't you? By God, get in there.
They're big. They're not like little hand puppets.
Oh,
they're
yeah.
big puppets.
This show is huge. This is a huge show. This is the biggest show I've seen them do. And it's happening on October 3rd. You can still get your reservation in for a carload. It's $40 for a carload. Hey, if you got 5 people in there, you're beating the house. So come on in. It's like a drive-in movie, but a drive-in puppet show. Too cool.
But if you have somebody in the trunk, they can't see the puppet show. So that doesn't really help you.
Oh,
the price down.
Oh man. We didn't think of the trunk babies. Oh, we didn't think of that. And they're having a drive-in puppet slam on October 24th. The delightfully dreadful or dreadful delight. I messed that up. It's a puppet slam.
Oh my gosh!
On October 24th, Halloween themed.
They are so much fun, and you never know what is going to happen.
That's right.
Now we have Haley who's asking if it can be viewed on. She's going to bike in.
Oh, she's going to bike in. Bike in with the radio. That's how you hear the sounds of the show.
Or can you grab onto a car mirror and kind of then be.
Oh, there you go. Or hang on the back like Marty McFly on a skateboard. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. All right. So, Tommy, thank you so much for coming on and
having me
and telling us about puppets. And I mean, if you've not been to the Arizona Puppet Theater, it is so worth seeing the building, to see the artistry, and an adult puppet slam is so much fun.
Yeah. It's a good time.
Indeed. All right. Well, again, thank you so much and have a great rest of your night.
You do the same. Thank you.
All right. Well, that was a lot of fun. And I love learning. It's like I love that theater is kind of there are still ways to make things happen, which is really exciting. And let's do that. So again, Tommy, thank you so much for being on and helping educate us about puppets in Arizona, or humanoids, as we were able to squeeze in a little bit of Homer Tate as we get ready for October, because he would have been really popular at that point. So our next segment is called Little Arizona. So talking about towns, I like to focus on towns of around 1,000 or less, sometimes more, sometimes a lot less. I mean, last week we talked about, oh my gosh. So last week was so much fun because we talked about, and oh gosh, now I'm blanking on the town, Preston, Nutrioso. a little town of like 26 people over on the New Mexico border. And my friend Preston like emailed me the next day saying, hey, you know, I had someone call the shop and order from Nutrioso, and they were shocked that I actually knew something about their town. So look, it's like, yeah, Nutrioso. So it took me a moment. So yeah, I mean, I love that people are watching and learning. And you know what I have to say to that? Cheers. And you know, and I love that that PJ is making these things to go so everyone can have a really amazing cocktail instead of what I could make at home, which would be not nearly as thoughtful or well made. So I am happy to say that the First Flames Arizona is a sponsor of this segment called Little Arizona. As we talk about towns across Arizona, and because we all know it's like, you know, we have the 5th largest city in the country right here, but there are also all these little places around Arizona that have their own unique flavor, their own characters, as well as their own beauty. I mean, I grew up in a town of about 25 people, so I completely understand the interest in being in a small town, but I'm not anymore. I'm sitting right here in the middle of the 5th largest city in the country, but I love being able to escape to one of those small towns. And so we are talking about Tucumcari / Carmen. It's basically kind of two towns that are so close together, they get lumped into one. Now, even though it's two towns in one, it has a population of just under 400. It is in Santa Cruz County and is home to Tucumcari National Historic Park. Now, the site is Mission San Jose de Tucumcari, a Franciscan mission that was built in the late 18th century. It takes its name from an earlier mission site that was founded by Father Kino. Now, this Kino mission was actually rebuilt, and you can go through it, and it looks like it has for 100 years. I mean, I have a feeling this is pretty much what San Javier del Bac looked like before they got to it and were able to redo it. It's also home to Avalon Organic Gardens, which is a sustainable community and also eco-village with housing that's eco-friendly as well. They started actually up north in 94 and relocated to Tucumcari in 07. Their practices include recycling, composting, organic gardening, water harvesting, gray water recycling, alternative energy, eco-architecture, as you can see. And it's a great place to go and just kind of see people exploring, kind of living off the grid. But right across from the state park is Abe's Tucumcari Bar. It's been there since the early 30s and is quite fantastic on the inside. I suggest everybody, when you go down, if you're going all the way down to Nogales, you can stop and have a drink on your way, but, you know, responsibly. But it's a really cool space to hang out in. So there you have it. And I'm happy to say that the First Flames Arizona is a proud sponsor of Little Arizona. Now, remember, if you have any questions, stories, suggestions, or comments about the show, maybe you've got a great little town that you'd like me to talk about. I know Preston threw me a note last week, and so that town is coming up. As well as, you know, my best source of information are stories that people bring to me. I agree, it's such a cute little town. So you can feel free to reach out to me, and I'll go through those ways you can do that. But next week, oh my gosh, it's like one of my other passions besides puppets is vintage signs, neon. And so we have the Tucson Ignite Sign Art Museum. They have been gathering signs from across the state, not just Tucson, and saving them from landfills or scrap yards. And so they're going to have a whole host of fun questions talking about neon and other signs across the state. And that will be next Thursday at 7 o'clock. And you can find us here on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live as well. As well as, don't forget, coming up on Friday, October 9th and Saturday the 10th, we will be having very small tours walking around downtown talking about haunted and spooky and historical sites. So be sure to join us. You can find that at hiphistorian.com. You can find a ticket link right there. Nancy, I agree. I mean, oh my gosh. I mean, Jude and his wife, Monica, are really cool folks. Oh, and Carol Lee says that she really sucked at trivia, but you know, the whole thing is to have fun. I was just on a call the other day and someone else used the word edutainment, because that's what I really try to do, is try to make it so fun that people don't even realize they're learning. So again, I want to say thank you. If you are so inclined, or if you're able to, any small donation is welcomed. We also do have a sponsor in AARP, and they have a message that is now more than ever. There are critical issues on the line in this election for the 50 plus. AARP has adapted to the reality of the 2020 election year. We're working hard to make sure voters can vote safely and know their voting options. We're speaking up to candidates to remind them that 50 plus voters are watching. Until Election Day, AARP will fight to make sure voters 50 plus can make their voices heard. And if you need to, you are more than welcome to go to their website and check out some of their virtual programming. They have an amazing virtual drum circle, but it's not just drums. You can bring a spoon, you can bring a plate, a pan, whatever you have to make noise and rattle around. You can do that. So also, I want to give a shout out. So the end of October, I am doing actually the first market that I know of that's going around. They're doing a socially distanced night market on Sunday, October 25th. And that's going to be from noon to 7 p.m. over on 7th Avenue. And so very excited. And so I will have Mr. Lucky shirts there. Possibly a new shirt. If not, it won't be until November, but we'll have some new stuff there as well. And so I would also like to give a shout out to Cole Travis, who did the music for the intro, as well as Chris Allen, who did the video for that. And shockingly enough, when they did that, they didn't even talk. And of course, my cocktail advisor that I wish would just always follow me around, but that would be PJ Vader Baron. And he always has some trick up his sleeve, which is really great. And then we also have our outro video with music from Mr. Ho. Mr. Ho is a musician, actually, who grew up in Sunny Slope. He is now on the East Coast with his own orchestra, as they redo kind of in a Pink Martini style of redoing old classics, making them sound like something else. But that's always fun. The video that is attached to this is some found footage that I've had from other events, as well as we did years ago something at the old Clarendon Hotel called Artel, where they gave rooms over to artists, and I did a display of slides projected on walls, heaping on furniture. And so that's what we opened that up with. And so stay well, everybody. Stay safe and sane. And I will see you back here next week for more fun as we talk about vintage signs across Arizona.